My name is Kathy Rodriguez, and I am presenting on Chapter 8, which focuses on Islamic art. So, to first begin, we're going to start with the early period of Islamic art, right after the rise of Islam in the 7th century, when the new religion was spreading over former Byzantine lands and developing its first major architectural forms. One of the most striking examples from this era is the Great Mosque of Damascus. It was built in the early 700s under the Umayyad Caliph al-Walid I. The mosque sits on a site layered with history. So initially there was the first Roman temple, and then it was a Byzantine church, and that deep past sort of still remains echoed in the structure. The Umayyads hired artisans trained in the refined mosaic traditions of Byzantium, so the mosque became a visually rich blend of shimmering surfaces, monumental scale, and the emerging architectural language of the Islamic world. These connections to Byzantine artistry became even more apparent when we look closely at the courtyard arcade mosaics. These mosaics glow with tiny pieces of gold and colored glass, and it creates like a dreamlike world with lush landscapes, flowing rivers, and gleaming architecture. They were likely produced by seasoned mosaicists from established workshops, yet their imagery moves away from Christian themes and instead evokes early Islamic visions of paradise, an abundant and peaceful world untouched by humans. It's a beautiful example of how Islamic art absorbed previous artistic traditions but transformed them into something spiritually new. Alongside architecture, we also see the growth of the Quran manuscript tradition. And an excellent example is the Quran page now at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. This folio comes from a luxurious manuscript written by master calligraphers in an elegant, controlled script that reflects deep reverence for the sacred text. The page is carefully spaced, rhythmically balanced, and highlighted with touches of gold added by illuminators. It is a reminder that producing a Quran was a deeply collaborative and devotional act, with every line crafted to enhance clarity, beauty, and spiritual engagement. Now we're going to transition to a later phase of Islamic art, which emerged as Islamic culture expanded across Persia, Spain, and the Ottoman Empire. By this time, Islam had moved east into former Sasanian territories and west across North Africa into the Iberian Peninsula. This expansion allowed Islamic art to merge with rich local traditions, resulting in new and regionally distinct styles. In Persia, also known as modern-day Iran, we see this beautifully in the mosaic mihrab from the Madrasa Imami in Isfahan. Created in the 1300s, this mihrab is a dazzling explosion of color and pattern, made from thousands of perfectly cut glazed tiles. These tiles fit together like a massive puzzle, forming swirling Quranic inscriptions, star patterns, and floral vines in deep blues, turquoises, and white. Tile makers and calligraphers in Isfahan were exceptionally skilled, and this piece captures the precision, geometry, and lyrical beauty characteristic of Persian religious spaces. At the same time, Islamic art in Spain took its own incredible identity, especially in the Alhambra. The Court of the Lions in Granada, built under the Nasrid ruler Muhammad V, is like stepping into a carved poem. The courtyard is anchored by a marble fountain supported by 12 sculpted lions, and the surrounding walls are covered in delicate stucco lacework that seem almost weightless. Islamic art made its way to Iberia through centuries of cultural exchange, and the Alhambra showcases how Andalusi artisans blended Islamic aesthetics with local traditions to create light-filled atmospheric spaces that feel both intimate and regal. Moving again east, the Ottoman Empire pushed architectural innovation even further. The Sultan Selim Mosque in Edirne, Turkey, designed in the 1500s by the legendary architect Mimar Sinan, shows the Ottomans' mastery of monumental design. Its massive central dome rises effortlessly, supported by a carefully calculated geometry, and the four tall minarets frame the structure like elegant markers pointing towards the sky. Sinan oversaw teams of engineers and craftsmen who brought this vision to life, creating a building that balances engineering brilliance with a sense of spiritual openness and grandeur. For the last section of my presentation, we're going to be looking towards the realm of luxury objects within Islamic art, where the focus turns to pieces that were valued not just for their function in everyday life, but more for their craftsmanship and aesthetic presence. So the first piece that we're going to be looking at is the Ardabil carpet. It was made in the late 1530s in a royal workshop, likely in Kashan. It features an incredibly dense knot count and a glowing medallion design surrounded by intricate floral patterns. The deep blues, warm golds, and rich reds feel almost velvety, and the carpet's enormous size would have created a stunning visual impact. Master weavers and dyers worked with tremendous precision, turning raw wool and natural dyes into an object that symbolized Safavid power, wealth, and artistic sophistication. Luxury also shines in illustrated manuscripts, like the scene of Yusuf fleeing from Zuleika from a copy of the Bustan of Sadi. This painting comes from a refined Persian miniature tradition where calligraphers arranged the poetry on the page and painters filled the scene with vibrant color, delicate architectural details, and expressive figures. The image captures the drama of the narrative, with Yusuf flying, racing away and his garments flowing, while the surrounding setting shows the intricate beauty of Persian interior spaces. And finally, one of the greatest achievements of Islamic painting is the Court of Gayumars from the Shahnama of Shah Tahmasp. Painted by the master Sultan Muhammad, this folio is a perfect synthesis of imagination and craftsmanship. The scene unfolds in a mystical landscape filled by floating clouds, jewel-like colors, and figures placed with incredible delicacy. It was part of a massive royal manuscript project, and it showcases the height of artistic creativity in the Safavid court. Across all these works, including early mosques, later regional architecture, and luxurious courtly arts, we see that Islamic art is incredibly diverse yet deeply interconnected. It adapts to new regions, merges with local traditions, and relies on the expertise of collaborative workshops. Taken together, these pieces reveal a long, rich history of artistic innovation that stretches across continents and centuries.